Nigel Farage blames admin error for candidates praising Hitler. Hungary chooses Make Europe Great Again slogan for its EU presidency.
In the UK, Labour suspends
Nigel Farage blames admin error for candidates praising Hitler. Hungary chooses Make Europe Great Again slogan for its EU presidency.
In the UK, Labour suspends candidate after he reportedly shared pro-Russia posts. Macron defends surprise snap election call as most responsible solution, and Macron says a silent majority in France oppose the extremes. Brazil's Lula would seek re-election at 80 to block the fascist. Senate GOP blocks Democratic effort to ban bump stocks after Supreme Court ruling. Research finds pattern of YouTube recommending right-leaning Christian videos. Anti-woke water becomes a hit for conservatives who brag about the unapologetic drink.
Kim greets Putin with a hug for first North Korea trip in 24 years, as three Russian Il-96 fly President Vladimir Putin on first visit to North Korea in 24 years. Russia sends about 40 warships to Pacific Ocean ahead of Putin's visit to North Korea. Putin says Russia and North Korea will help each other if attacked, taking ties to a new level. In North Korea's Kim sees relations with Russia entering golden age.
Biden enlists Bill and Hillary Clinton to counter Trump's fundraising, and Biden again calls Trump a convicted felon at a fundraiser, pushing his 5 days total to around $40. Secret Service agent robbed at gunpoint during Biden's Los Angeles trip. Police.
China to see biggest millionaire exodus in 2024 as many head to U.S. Hong Kong visitors to EU will need travel authorization from next year. Anti-Asian rhetoric during COVID-19 pandemic negatively impacted employment and earnings, new Northeastern research finds. Finland will host a NATO land command and troops. Putin claims he did not plan to storm Kyiv in 2022. G7 says Russia should pay almost $500 billion to Ukraine in compensation of damage.
Zelensky arrives in Switzerland as 92 countries confirm peace summit attendance. Switzerland receives 100 state guests for summit on peace in Ukraine. BRICS leaders not to attend conference on Ukraine in Switzerland, as Ukraine struggles to court Global South before Swiss summit. Putin discloses he spoke with Obama amid 2014 coup in Ukraine. 10 years ago, it had been reported as Vladimir Putin and Barack Obama engage in war of words over Ukraine.
Terrorists. U.S. sanctions Israeli group, Sav-9, that attack aid convoys threaten peace. U.S. Justice Department announces anticipated distribution of at least $940 million to victims of state-sponsored terrorism in 2025.
Zelensky rejects Putin's Hitler-like ultimatum for truce, drop its NATO bid, as Putin offers ceasefire if Ukraine exits Russian-claimed areas and drops NATO bid. Kyiv calls proposal absurd. Putin says almost 700,000 Russian troops fighting in Ukraine. Kyiv to get $1.5 billion from frozen Russian assets in July, and Putin denounced freezing of Russian assets as theft, which will not go unpunished. EU Commissioner announces EU will match Russia's ammunition production in 2025. Russia may store 100 nuclear warheads in Kaliningrad Oblast, Polish FM claims. Russia withdrawing from protocol to Transboundary Air Pollution Convention.
EU member states greenlight Ukraine. Moldova negotiating frameworks. Bridges, not walls. Vatican says maintaining diplomatic ties with Russia is important. Russia, Iran boosts trade turnover by 48% in Q1 2024. Turkey 90% likely to cede second NPP project in Sinop to Russia. North Korea building roads, walls inside demilitarized zone, announces Yonhap. Chinese submarines torpedo destroys amphibious landing ship during exercise. China nuclear arsenal reached 500 warheads in 2024, says think tank, and U.S. as many as 15 years behind China on nuclear power. Report says, UK risks missing out on nuclear supply chain. Rolls boss warns.
Trudeau says Russia needs to be accountable for genocide of taking Ukrainian children. Zelensky says he would hold peace talks tomorrow if Russia leaves Ukraine territory. Ghana president says Africa, greatest victim of Russian invasion's consequences outside Europe.
Declaration. And Zelensky again criticizes Brazil and demands the position of a civilized country.
Dutchman Rutte to be NATO's new Secretary-General. Dutch news outlet Numbers reports citing sources, as Dutch leader Mark Rutte clears a big hurdle to becoming NATO chief after Hungary lifts objections. Von der Leyen, Costa, Kallas likely to get top EU posts, Polish PM says. Chinese MFA slams NATO as Cold War relic amid warnings on Russia aid. Israel warns of prospect of all-out war after Hezbollah publishes video of military, civilian sites, and Israel approves operational plan for Lebanon offensive, says army. Islamists used Ukraine as transit on way to EU, claims German authorities. Cargo ship MV Tutor sinks in Red Sea days after Houthi drone boat attack. India refuses to endorse Ukraine meet statement. Kiev better accept Russia's peace proposal or face worse outcomes, says Medvedev. Hanoi residents praise idol Putin, Russia's world leader, as he visits Vietnam. U.S. renews warning it's obligated to defend the Philippines after its clash with China, as Philippine officials say Chinese forces seized 2 Navy boats in disputed shoal, injuring sailors. Malaysia wants to join BRICS. China's she an outstanding leader, says Anwar. NATO chief says West should impose a cost on China for its support of
Record 23 countries hit 2% defense spending target, NATO says. Military spending on personnel in Brazil is, proportionally, more than triple that of the USA. Paris court overturns France's arms show ban on Israeli firms.
Astronauts return delayed again, as Boeing and NASA try to learn more about spacecraft issues. Boeing CEO admits company has retaliated against whistleblowers during Senate hearing, says I know it happens, and Boeing hid faulty parts that may have been installed on new 737 planes, whistleblower alleges.
DJI drone ban passes in U.S. House. Countering CCP Drones Act would ban all DJI sales in U.S. if passed in Senate. U.S. pushing Netherlands, Japan to restrict more chip-making equipment to China, source says. U.S. Steel CEO is extremely confident Nippon deal will close in 2024. Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway dumps BYD shares following rise in trade tension over Chinese EVs. EV startup Fisker files for bankruptcy, aims to sell assets. Detroit 3 automakers should exit China, leading analyst says.
Increased spending pushes 2024 U.S. budget deficit estimate to $1.9 trillion. Study finds U.S. does not have housing shortage, but shortage of affordable housing. U.S. retail sales barely increase in sign of consumer strain.
U.S. sues Photoshop maker Adobe for hiding fees, making it difficult to cancel. Los Angeles School District bans use of cell phones, social media by students. For CSA regulation, EU Council about to vote on voluntary chat control as a new legislation to fight child sexual abuse online. Ford admits it lost billions on sedans, but may return with an EV. Jeep confirms new Compass, updated Grand Cherokee and Wagoneer. Secret Cadillac coupe finally revealed after 6 long years. Kansas accuses Pfizer of misleading public about COVID vaccine in lawsuit. License of Saskatchewan doctor who prescribed ivermectin for COVID-19 to be suspended. Brazil has an average of 30 deaths from COVID daily in 2024.
New York's top court declines to hear Trump's appeal of the gag order in his hush money case. Vietnam ministry weighs cash bounties to catch corrupt officials. In Canada, McGill withdraws amnesty offer, toughens tone with pro-Palestinian protesters.
Ex-Twitter rival Lens Protocol seeks $50 million in new funding. El Salvador